Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. We are entering the month of December, and I have a new goal heading into January 1st, 2016, and that is to reach 50,000 subscribers. Right now, the YouTube channel is less than 700 from 50,000. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it. Tell a friend. Anybody you know who watches wrestling, have them check out the YouTube channel. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. With that being said, let's get down to your questions. First one today comes from Steven. With the Raw ratings being so low, do you see Vince McMahon being involved in a storyline to boost them up? Please answer in video. I think it's unlikely we will see Vince McMahon return as a television character. I think that those days are over. At Vince's age, you have to say enough's enough. Vince is in tremendous shape. The guy is a machine. He works 24/7. But at some point, age is going to catch up on you, no matter how good of shape you're in. Eventually, you have to step back a little bit and focus on fewer things. The fact that Vince started to be part of the Daniel Bryan storyline, and there was rumors at the time that he was going to feud with Triple H over control of the company. The fact that that never happened and Vince never really came back after that Daniel Bryan storyline to feud with Triple H, that just goes to show that it's really time for Vince to start phasing down his activities in the company. And it's not really necessary for him to be a television character. Triple H and Stephanie are doing just fine as the authority. They've been doing that for the past 2 years now. Vince is still focusing on the business aspect of the company. There's really no need for him to come back. I think he could come back, but at this point, you need to focus on other things, and there are other ways to improve the ratings besides bringing Vince back. At some point, you're not going to be able to do it anymore, because one of these days, he's not going to be around. So I think at this point, it would really reek of desperation, and I think it's very unlikely it'll happen. Alright, this one comes from Spencer B. Do you think a brand split would help WWE? Triple H is the GM of Raw and Stephanie is the GM of SmackDown, possibly bringing back the draft as well. Like Vince possibly coming back as a TV character, I think that it would reek of desperation to bring back the brand extension. I personally enjoyed the brand extension when WWE was doing it and taking it seriously. The problem is that after a few years, WWE got lazy with it, and you had Raw guys appearing on SmackDown all the time and vice versa, and it really got watered down. If WWE was to bring it back, they would need to really go all the way with it, make Raw a completely separate show from SmackDown, but I doubt that's going to happen at this point. WWE merged the world titles together as the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. They would have to split the titles again. It's just a lot. I think it's unlikely. Once again, I think it's unlikely, and it would be a sign that WWE is really desperate to try and get people interested in the product. Alright, this one comes from Larry Arrowwood. With all the injuries in WWE, do you see WWE bringing up NXT talent, and if so, who? I think that WWE will likely just continue pushing the guys that are already on the roster. Instead of bringing in guys from NXT, I think WWE is going to focus on guys like Rusev and Wade Barrett, and John Cena should be back in the near future. I mean, WWE really just has to get through the month of December. Once January comes along, football season ends, you got the Royal Rumble hype, and theoretically, the ratings should start to go up a little bit. And with Cena being back and possibly a few other surprises, WWE is just counting on the fans coming back in early January. There's really no need to bring up NXT guys sooner than necessary just because the ratings are dropping. Alright, this one comes from Jeff and Stuff. With WWE's low ratings, could this be a chance for Lucha Underground to establish itself as a legitimate rival promotion when it returns? Please answer in video. WWE ratings really should be no concern of Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground should really just ignore what WWE is doing. What Lucha Underground needs to do is focus on their own product and getting more eyeballs watching it. Lucha Underground needs to focus on expanding its audience in the United States and expanding its overall reach to wrestling fans around the world. Lucha Underground is a nice alternative to WWE, but they still have a long way to go, and it's really too soon for them to be concerned about what WWE's ratings are. And if WWE is doing well or if they're doing bad, really doesn't have any kind of impact on Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground is still a rising promotion, and the people watching it are diehard wrestling fans. In time, Lucha Underground should be able to grow their audience if they continue to be a solid alternative, but you have to really focus on attracting casual viewers. But WWE's ratings really have nothing to do with Lucha Underground's chances of success. They need to focus on what they're doing. Alright, this one comes from @RickyLawson. Who do you think WWE dropped the ball on with the most, Mr. Kennedy or MVP? I would have to say MVP because Mr. Kennedy had a lot of opportunities in WWE. WWE invested so much in him. He won Money in the Bank. He was scheduled to be Vince McMahon's illegitimate son, but due to injuries and failing a wellness policy, Mr. Kennedy never really reached his full potential in WWE. With MVP, I think he could have been a top-tier WWE star, but for whatever reason, the company never really invested in him what they invested in Mr. Kennedy. And I remember back the Survivor Series that was in Miami. It was MVP's hometown, and he was the first guy eliminated, and I thought that that was ridiculous. And he left the company shortly after that, which doesn't surprise me at all. It was stuff like that where I felt that WWE really dropped the ball on him, and they could have used him better, and he could have been a bigger star in WWE. Alright, this one comes from Mr. Yuck. Who are your top 5 worst champions of any variety or company? I would say guys like Jack Swagger, guys like The Miz, guys that were world champion that really didn't come off like world champions. It felt more like a mid-card wrestler being the world champion rather than a top-tier world champion caliber wrestler being the world champion. The world champion should be the best in the world. He should be a guy that has a lot of credibility that you think is better than everybody else. I think that when WWE put the title on guys like Jack Swagger, it really watered down the title. I would say Rey Mysterio was a bad champion because they put it on him for the wrong reasons and he just didn't have the credibility as champion. It's hard to come up with a top 5, but anybody that was positioned as a mid-carder and then won the title, to me, was among the worst champions. Alright, this one comes from DAllen11. Hey Aaron, what did you think of WWE's year of guest hosts on Raw? Who was your favorite host? Mine was Jesse Ventura. I was not a fan of the guest host concept. I know WWE did it for publicity, but more times than not you had C-list celebrities, and even worse, you had D-list celebrities. I felt if WWE was able to get major celebrities on a regular basis, it would have been more tolerable. I did enjoy Bob Barker. I thought that he did a tremendous job, and clearly everybody had a lot of fun working with him. But most of the guest hosts, it seemed like they had no interest in being there. They were merely there to promote whatever they had going on and nothing else. I think I did prefer when somebody in the wrestling universe was a guest host rather than an outside celebrity. Guys like Jesse Ventura. I did enjoy Shaq as well because Shaq has always been a big fan of wrestling, and you could tell that he was having a good time being there as the guest host. But most of them I did not enjoy as guest hosts. Alright, this one comes from XIIAN. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Hey Aaron, first time asker, long time viewer. In Brock Lesnar's current run in WWE, what's your favorite match that he's had? Easy answer, SummerSlam 2013 against CM Punk. In my opinion, it was Brock Lesnar's best match since coming back, and it's my personal second favorite match that I've ever seen in person, next to Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21. I just thought that that was an incredible match, a lot of fun to watch, and Brock Lesnar and CM Punk, they just had the chemistry working together, so that was my favorite one, definitely. All right, this one comes from Todd Ulmer. Was Tito Santana underrated? He was my favorite growing up. I really would not say that he was overrated. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and he was a good wrestler. He was one of the better wrestlers that WWE had in the 1980s. In a land of giants, Tito Santana stood out because he was a quality technical wrestler, and he had some good matches during the 80s, and he could do the high-flying stuff as well. Him and Rick Martel's Strike Force, they had some memorable matches, some of the better matches in WWE during that period. But I wouldn't say that he was underrated or anything like that. He was just a good hand. He was a good guy to have in the company, and later in his career, he was putting over other people, and he did his job well. I mean, he was a guy that made other people look good, and he did a very good job at it. But I wouldn't say that he was underrated or overrated. Tito Santana was a good performer all around. He wasn't a good promo. I mean, that was really, I think, what kept him down in WWE. His promos were terrible, but he was a very good quality wrestler. All right, this one comes from Rock Fanatic. Do you think Kane will work on a part-time schedule like The Undertaker from now and appear on special occasions? I really hope so. I think that there's not much left for Kane to do in WWE. I think it would be better for him to be a special attraction like The Undertaker and only appear at major shows such as the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I really feel it would be a good idea for him to wind down his career and retire in the next year or two. I see it happening with Big Show and Mark Henry. They're not appearing on Raw quite as often, and I think that that is definitely the right direction for Kane. Now that the Corporate Kane storyline's over, there's really no point in him being on television every single week. He's better off being utilized as a special attraction. All right, this one comes from Chris Barnett. I want to watch the Shawn Michaels turn on Marty Jannetty on the network. Do you know the name of the show it happened on? Well, first off, let me correct you. Shawn Michaels did not turn on Marty Jannetty. Marty Jannetty tried to run from Shawn Michaels by diving through the barbershop window like a coward. Anyways, to answer your question, I don't know the exact date, and I'm not even sure if it's on the network or not. It was on an episode of Wrestling Challenge. I do remember the barbershop segments being on Wrestling Challenge. It was sometime in early 1992, the first or second week of the year, first or second weekend of the year. It was one of those early shows in 92, from what I recall. Your best bet is to just watch it on YouTube. I know it's on WWE's YouTube channel. Just run a search on it, Marty Jannetty Barbershop, and you'll find it. And you can just stream it on your computer or your television or whatever. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Once again, if you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe, like this video, share it with a friend. Help me get 50,000 subscribers by January 1st, 2016. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest in the world of wrestling, and I will see you guys next time.